Meet my beautiful group members. The first one is our leader, Nur Alia Maisara binti Muhammad Yazir. Next is me, Nur Zulaika binti Muhammad Raimi. The third one is Nur Shafida Alia binti Muhammad Zuhdi. And lastly, Riaza Cucu Ara binti Zakaria. Firstly, let me talk about the introduction of this presentation, starting with background of study. Knowing on how to use digital technology is really crucial because it becomes a foundation to our future life. Digital skills are defined as the ability to use digital devices, communication application, and network to collect and manage information. For instance, word processing, social networking, computer literacy, and many more. In this study, our group has conducted a sample survey to see how particular digital skills are among students who study in Foundation in Management program at University Utara Malaysia. Next, I will talk about the objective. There are 6 objectives of the study. The first one is to discover the background of the respondents. Second is to identify what skills are respondents familiar with. And the third one is to investigate how many hours a day are respondents on a computer and cell phone. Fourth is to observe how many of the respondents are using social media and games in their life. The fifth one is to see how respondents rate their digital skills, and lastly, to figure out whether the respondents are satisfied with their life when using digital technology.
Respondent Analysis Profile. Students' Gender in Management Foundation Program. Majority of the respondents are female, representing 148 out of 174 students that respond in the Google form, and male as the minority, representing 26 students. Races in Management Foundation Program. Majority of the respondents are Malay, representing 153 students. Chinese brings 3 students, meanwhile Indian and other races are the minority. Number of students from different states. The model state is Kedah, representing 44 out of 174 respondents, and this indicates Kedah has the highest population. The lowest population is from Sabah, representing of only 2 students. Family income of students from different hometown. The highest mode for urban is 15% and for rural is 16%, that is below 3,000 ringgit Malaysia. Meanwhile, the lowest mode for urban is 7% and for rural is 5%, that is between 5,000 ringgit Malaysia to 7,000 ringgit Malaysia. Program of studies that respondents select to pursue. Most of the respondents vote to pursue their studies at School of Accounting, representing of 76 respondents. There are also respondents that vote for School of Language, Civil and Philosophy, and Islamic Business School, with only 1 student in each school. However, there are also several respondents has not decided yet.
Now I'm going to proceed with the topics analysis. I will begin with the student computer and ICT skill. We can observe from the graph of state column above that the majority of the students responded yes rather than no to the sum of the 20 questions. According to the graph, searching and collecting information as well as connecting to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are all 100% yes. Although setting up a website as a homepage had the fewest yes vote with 86%. With a few exceptions, we can say that majority of student foundations are skilled in the use of computers and ICT. Now, we move to the second figure, which is figure 3.2.2. The figure shows how many hours students spend every day on computer and cell phone. We can certainly conclude that the majority of students with a numbers of 100 spend 5 to 8 hours each day on computers. With only 2 students, the lowest number of students that spend time on computer per day is between 17 to 20 hours per day. There are also 3 students who spend over 21 to 24 hours a day on their mobile mobile phone, which means they spend their whole day playing with their phone, which is extremely bad for health. A combination of line graph also shows how many times students spend on their cell phone. It shows that the model hour with the greatest number of 71 students are 5 to 8 hours. We might also conclude that just 2 students spend 16 to 20 hours each day. Finally, we noticed that 10 students had spent around 24 hours on their mobile phone, which is not encouraged for students since it might negatively impact their mental and social life. Now we proceed to the last figure before we move on to 3.2.1. On the graph and table above, we can conclude that WhatsApp is the most popular social media platform among students, with a majority of 168 students responding yes. Meanwhile, Facebook is the least used social media platform among students, with a majority of 70 students responding no. We can also observe from the table that the kind of answer yes has the biggest standard deviations. As a result, students nearly always use one or two social media platforms. Despite the fact that there are no vote for no in the YouTube category, it shows that the people use it to learn knowledge and release tension.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah, number matric F01632. Now we'll explain about the evaluation the highest agreement of statement based on mean score. There will be 4 statements for this section. As see, there will be 4 statements for this section. Let's start. The first statement is about oneself on social media. This table shows the range of mean score based on the agreements of statement about oneself on social media. As you can see, there are 7 questions for this statement. It gives me a feeling of well-being. It helps release stress. It helps me relax. It increases my knowledge. It gives me other financial benefit. I like being popular. I like to challenge myself. The total 4.4325 is the average score means of all questions, as you can see at the bottom right of the table. Now we move on to the next table. Next table is about the range of mean score based on the agreement of statement about other people on social media. There are 3 questions for this statement, which are: my friends that participate on social media, can meet new friends there, it gives me chance to meet new friends, and the total average for mean is 4.7912. Next. The third table shows the range of mean score based on agreement of statement about social media life. For this statement, there are 4 questions. For instance, there may be personal publicity, certain games are prestigious, I'm used doing online business from school, and there are good online reference for my study. The total 4.0115 is the average mean score. Lastly, the table shows the range of mean score based on the agreement of statement about skill. As you can see, there are 5 questions for this section. The first one, how will you rate your typing skill, rate your web search skill, rate your computer literacy, rate your internet literacy, rate your digital literacy. And the total for this section is 4.723. To summarize all the statements, we made a bar graph to show the average mean score for every statement. To conclude, the highest average mean score belongs to the statement people around me, and the lowest average mean score belongs to the statement social media life. So that's all for this part. Thank you. Next we move on to the conclusion. Now we are at the end of the video. Before that, I will give some conclusion for this project. From the data we collect and analyze, we can see that almost all foundation students know briefly what is digital literacy is, as there are more students vote for yes and strongly agree than no and strongly disagree. In line with the objective of study, we get to know respondent background and identify what skill respondents are familiar with. Lastly, thank you for 174 of 181 management foundation students that helped us to answer all questions. We hope that next project maybe all students will cooperate. Hope that we all can know more about digital literacy. Thank you.
you.